Tonoko mi Takuyo Yase. This is just going to be a basic thing. Uh, a very, very brief beginning to Lakota culture because I'm still working on that one. But I just wanted to uh, put out like a couple of things that I had figured out about the different names of the people and the land and the society. Okay, the central government of these people that they were organized together as was known as Oti Shaku, the Seven Fires or the Seven Fire Council. Basically, Ocheti is fireplace. Shaku is seven. This is kind of the governing body, how they organize their society. But the thing that makes Native American culture different in tradition than the Western world, or different than the Eastern world, the Old World, is that most of the time in the Old World, most people will either name the land after themselves or vice versa, name themselves after the land. The interesting thing with the Lakota is they don't take the interesting thing with Native Americans is they generally don't take a lot of ownership of the land. So usually the land will have a different name than the people, and it kind of goes into tiers of like everything having very wildly different names from one another, such as the name for the government there. Now the name for the collective society, all of the people, is the Dakota Oyete. This is also just what the specific Dakota nationality called themselves. Because as we've already said before, there were of course three different dialects of the language: Lakota, Nakota, and Dakota. And they were all kind of organized together. The Dakota had most of North Dakota and a little bit of eastern South Dakota. The Nakota were pushed right up against the edge of the Dakotas, directly north of the Lakota, along the border between the Great Plains and the Montana Badlands, whereas the Lakota were generally situated in Pahasapa and the land directly east of that, the Great Plains area of the western portion of South Dakota and a little bit of the northern part of Nebraska. And of course, there was the Hohe, the group that seceded from the Dakota Oyete, went back to Minnesota, as I said in my Lakota history video. Who were known as the Hohe. They eventually, the Ojibwe, who had gotten into a war with the Dakota and driven them out of the state of Minnesota out onto the Great Plains, started to refer to them as Asene Bowen in their language. Essentially, Bowen being their normal name for the Dakota Peoples, other than Nadesu, which was a racial slur, and how we get the word Sioux, which is what we know the Lakota Dakota Peoples as today. But Asene means alike rock. So these are the Sioux who are like stone, essentially translated as the stone Sioux, and that's where we get the word Assiniboine from, which is what the Hohe are known as today. Essentially, I would assume that's just kind of a thing like, wait, really? We got rid of you. Why are you back? Seriously? What the heck just happened? Now, as I said, I don't know what the Lakota homeland was called, and I haven't figured out what the Assiniboine called their land either. But these are the names of the lands that the Dakota Oyete, the Dakota-speaking peoples, and the Lakota-speaking peoples lived in. The Dakota-speaking peoples actually came up with the name Minnesota, which literally, Mini means water and Sota means hazy. This is a very good kind of is a very good description of the actual state of Minnesota, the land of 1,000 lakes. Not a very good description of the Great Plains. So why did they keep the name Minnesota when they moved west? Well, the reason is it also has kind of a metaphorical second meaning. As I've described in the religion video, they see kind of the sky and the water reflecting one another, and the reflection of the water being the doorway to the spirit world, and the stars in the night sky being the reflection of the spirit world itself. And so they see Minnesota metaphorically meaning the place where the water and clouds reflect. So essentially they're saying that no matter where we go, our ancestors are always with us, as they believe the stars to be the souls of the dead and of those yet to be born. So that's where Minnesota comes from. And then of course you have Paha Sapa, the Lakota land known as the Black Hills. Paha, Black, Sapa, or Paha Hills, Sapa, Black. Now there is a lot of general confusion over what exactly the Dakota, Nakota, and Lakota were called as a separate entity. Each is their own people. The earliest things that we know of are from the 1800s with a man named Paul Walker, who spent time among the Lakota early on after they were imprisoned towards the end of the 1800s, and he said that he got it right that there are 3 different groups, but he misnames them as the Teton, the Chichagu, and the Brulé. As it turns out, the Chichagu and the Brulé are not only the same group, but they're one of the different encampments of the Teton. So I couldn't quite figure that out, although I had a theory that possibly Chichagu was a nickname for the Nakota, and he got in a very confusing conversation that ended in him assuming that this was correct when it wasn't. That actually apparently turns out to be true, but this is generally what I have. Now, as I said, the people were known collectively as the Dakota Oyate. I'm pretty sure the Dakota were always just the Dakota. However, the Nakota and Lakota took on nicknames to differentiate themselves more so from the Dakota. The one that we know was correct was Teton, or what is correctly the full name, Tetonwan. Tetonwan is the correct name of the Lakota. I'm not entirely sure what Tetonwan means, but that is what they're called. Now, the Nakota, I actually found the name of the Nakota I actually found completely by accident in the dictionary while I was looking for something else entirely. This is the name of the Nakota, Wache Ompa. Essentially the border guards, known for being the people on the western border of the Dakota territories, exactly where I assumed that they were. And the actual definition in the Lakota dictionary of Wache Ompa is the Yankton Sioux, which Yankton being another name that the Nakota were known by, who are the western border guards of the people, and also known as the Chichagu, not to be confused with the Chichagu Brulé. And the last thing we have are the different bands, or the specific encampment groups of each of these people. These are the ones of the Dakota. You have the Isaati, which is the flint knives, the Medewa Cotton, Medewa Cotton, which seems to have something to do with boiling blood, Waipeton, the people of Wahope, and Sisiton, the walkers. And you have the Nakota group Salnes, Hukpapa, which is the group that Sitting Bull came from, Siasapa, Itazipcho, and Yakton and Yaktonai. And then the Lakota, Teton, Oklala, Chichagu, and Minikuoju. That's essentially all I have for this intro. I will go ahead and get more into day-to-day life and society on the plains, but for now, this is going to be it. I think I have a lot more work to do before I make that video. So, Mipi Wokala Hanakopte Heek Ash.